Hey there, friend. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night, stumbling to the bathroom, only to crawl back into bed and realize sleep slipped away again? Maybe it's once, maybe it's 3 times. And by morning, you're wondering if you got any rest at all. If that's you, I'm right there with you. I used to think it was just part of getting older. Like, after 60, your bladder decides it's the boss of your nights. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be that way. Sure, our bodies change as the years roll by. Maybe the bladder gets a little fussier, or those trips down the hall feel like they're on repeat. But it's not just annoying. It's stealing your sleep, leaving you tired, and honestly, making the days a little harder than they need to be. I started digging into this because I was fed up with those midnight wake-up calls, and what I found was a game changer. You don't have to live with it, or pop pills that leave you groggy. There are simple, natural tricks that can quiet that bladder down and let you sleep through the night like you deserve. In this video, we're going to walk through 8 tips that'll stop frequent urination at night for good. No fancy doctor visits, just stuff you can start doing today. These are backed by science and a little bit of trial and error from folks like us who've been there. So grab a comfy seat, maybe a glass of water. Don't worry, we'll talk about that. And let's get into the first tip that's going to help you reclaim your nights. First off, let's talk about something you're probably doing without even thinking, drinking too close to bedtime. I get it, a cup of tea or a big glass of water feels good after dinner, especially if you're winding down with a show or a book. But after 60, our kidneys don't slow down at night like they used to, and all that liquid turns into a one-way ticket to the bathroom. Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic say cutting back on fluids a few hours before bed can make a huge difference. So here's what I started doing. I stopped sipping anything, water, tea, even that sneaky glass of wine, about 2 hours before I hit the pillow. If I'm thirsty, I take a tiny sip, just enough to wet my whistle. And that's it. The first night I tried it, I woke up once instead of 3 times, and I felt like I'd won a small victory. It's not about going dry all day. Drink plenty earlier. Just ease up as the evening rolls in. Now, while we're on the topic of what's going in, let's think about what you're drinking. Not just when, but what? Coffee, soda, even some teas are like little alarm clocks for your bladder. Caffeine's a sneaky culprit. It perks you up, sure, but it also tells your bladder to get busy, especially at night. And alcohol, it's no better. It relaxes everything, including your ability to hold it in. I used to love a late coffee with dessert, but I noticed those nights were the worst for bathroom runs. So I swapped it out, cut the caffeine after lunch, switched to herbal tea like chamomile instead of black tea in the evening. Science backs this up too. A study from the Urology Journal found folks who ditched caffeine and booze later in the day had fewer nighttime trips. It's a small tweak, but it's like telling your bladder, hey, take a break tonight. And it actually listens. And since we're making smart swaps, let's talk about something you can add to your day that'll help: pumpkin seeds. I know, it sounds a little out there, but bear with me. These little guys are packed with stuff that's good for your bladder, like magnesium and antioxidants that calm things down. I read about this in a health magazine. And it turns out researchers in Japan found that pumpkin seed extract can cut down on how often you feel that urge, especially at night. I started tossing a handful into my afternoon snack, maybe with some nuts or just on their own. And after a week, I wasn't bolting out of bed as much. You can grab them at the store, roast them yourself if you're feeling fancy, or even sprinkle them on a salad. It's like a quiet little helper working behind the scenes. And it's so easy, you'll wonder why you didn't try it sooner. With those first steps, timing your drinks, skipping the caffeine, and munching on pumpkin seeds, you're already on your way to calmer nights. But sometimes it's not just what you eat or drink. It's how your body's holding up. And there's a trick for that too, something you can do right at home to give your bladder a little extra strength. So we've got a solid start, easing up on drinks before bed, ditching that late coffee, and munching on pumpkin seeds to give your bladder a little love. You're already on the right track, and I bet you're feeling a bit more hopeful about those nights, right? But sometimes it's not just about what's going in, it's about giving your body a hand to hold things together. That's where this next trick comes in, and it's something you can do right at home, no fancy equipment needed. It's called a Kegel exercise, and if you're thinking, wait, isn't that for younger folks? Trust me, it's for us too. After 60, the muscles down there that help control your bladder can get a little lazy, and that's when those nighttime urges sneak up. But strengthening them, it's like giving your bladder a better doorkeeper. Here's how it works. Imagine you're trying to stop yourself midstream. Don't actually do it while you're peeing, just picture it. Squeeze those muscles for about 5 seconds, then let go for 5. Do that 10 times, maybe twice a day, once while you're brushing your teeth in the morning, once before bed. I started doing this after a friend tipped me off. And at first, I wasn't sure I was even getting it right. But after a couple weeks, I noticed I wasn't waking up as often, like those muscles were finally pulling their weight. Science agrees too. A study from the University of California found that folks over 60 who did Kegels cut their nighttime trips by half. It's not instant, but stick with it, and you'll feel the difference. Plus, it's kind of empowering to know you're taking charge, all from the comfort of your own bathroom. And while we're building strength, let's talk about something else that can throw things off, those legs that don't quite settle down at night. You know, that restless feeling where your legs twitch or ache just when you're trying to drift off. It's more common after 60, and it's not just in your head, it can make your bladder feel antsy too. Doctors call it restless leg syndrome, and it's tied to how our nerves talk to our muscles. One thing that helps is a little leg stretch before bed, and I swear it's simpler than it sounds. Just sit on your bed, stretch one leg out straight, and pull your toes back toward you for about 20 seconds, then switch. I picked this up from my neighbor, Ed, who's 67, and said it was like hitting a reset button for his legs. A study in the Journal of Sleep Research backs it up. Stretching cut down on those twitchy urges, and for me, it meant fewer trips down the hall. Do it while you're winding down, maybe with a book, and your legs and bladder will thank you. Now, with your muscles working better and your legs calming down, let's shift to something you might not think about, how you're sitting all day. I used to love curling up in my recliner for hours, watching TV or reading, but I started noticing my nights got worse when I sat too long. Turns out, sitting for ages can put pressure on your pelvic area, and after 60, that can mess with how your bladder behaves come bedtime. Doctors at the Mayo Clinic say getting up and moving every hour or so keeps things flowing right, less pooling, less pressure. So I set a little rule for myself. Every hour, I stand up, stretch my arms, maybe walk to the kitchen for a sip of water. Early in the day, of course. Last week, I even danced a little to the radio while the kettle boiled. And that night, I slept like a rock. It's not about running a marathon, just a quick break to remind your body it's not stuck. Pair that with those Kegels, and you're building a team that's ready to let you rest. With these tricks, strengthening those muscles, stretching those legs, and breaking up your sitting, you're giving your bladder a real fighting chance to stay quiet all night. But sometimes, it's not just about what you do during the day. It's those sneaky little habits creeping into your evening that can stir things up again. And that's where we're headed next, with a tip that'll surprise you with how easy it is to fix. So here we are, making great strides with those Kegels, stretching out the restlessness, and keeping our bodies moving during the day. Your nights are probably starting to feel a little calmer already, aren't they? But I know how it goes. Sometimes it's those sneaky evening habits that can still trip us up, even when we think we've got it all figured out. That's why this next tip is about cutting back on the salt before bed. And I'll be honest, this one took me by surprise. I used to love a salty snack, some popcorn or a few crackers while I watched my evening shows, and I never thought twice about it. But then I learned that too much salt makes your body hang on to water, and at night, that water decides it's time to make a break for it. right into your bladder. Doctors at the American Heart Association say salty stuff late in the day can boost how much you pee overnight, and after 60, our systems are a little less forgiving about that. So I made a switch, pushed the salty treats to earlier in the day, like a little afternoon pick-me-up instead. If I'm craving something at night, I grab a handful of unsalted nuts or a slice of apple, nothing fancy, just enough to satisfy. The first night I skipped the salty stuff, I woke up once instead of my usual 2 or 3, and I felt like I cracked a secret code. It's not about giving up everything you love, just shifting it around so your bladder gets a break when it matters most. Next time you're at the store, peek at those labels too. Some soups or frozen dinners sneak in more salt than you'd guess. Keep it light in the evening, and you'll be amazed how much quieter your nights get. And now, let's wrap this up with something that ties it all together, lifting your legs before bed. I know, it sounds a bit odd, but stick with me. It's like a gentle nudge to keep everything flowing the right way. After 60, our circulation can slow down, especially if we've been sitting or standing a lot, and that can leave fluid hanging out in our legs. Come nighttime, that fluid shifts when we lie down. And guess where it heads? Straight to your bladder, waking you up when you'd rather be dreaming. I picked this up from a nurse friend who said, just prop your legs up for a bit. It's like giving gravity a helping hand. So I started lying on the couch or bed about 30 minutes before lights out, with my legs up on a pillow or against the wall. Nothing strenuous, just comfy. Science loves this one too. A study from the Journal of Urology found that elevating legs late in the day cuts down on nighttime urination for folks over 60, especially if your ankles swell a bit by evening. I tried it after a day of gardening, when my legs felt heavy, and that night I slept through till morning. No trips, no tossing. It's like telling your body, hey, let's sort this out now, so it doesn't bother you later. If you wake up and feel that urge, you can even prop your legs on a pillow right there in bed. It's a quick fix to settle things down. Pair it with that salt cutback, and you're setting yourself up for a night where your bladder finally takes a rest. So there you have it, 8 simple ways to stop those nighttime bathroom runs for good. From timing your drinks and skipping the caffeine to strengthening your muscles, calming your legs, and giving your body these little evening tweaks, it all adds up to something pretty special. Nights where you sleep through, wake up refreshed, and feel like you're back in charge. I've been there, bleary-eyed and frustrated, and these tricks turned it around for me, one peaceful night at a time. What about you? Which one are you excited to try first? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear how it goes, because I'm cheering you on. If this hit the spot for you, give it a thumbs up. It lets me know you're with me. And hit that subscribe button so we can keep tackling these little challenges together. Here's to quiet nights and bright mornings. You've earned every bit of that rest, and it's yours for the taking.